All right, we are live on Facebook.
Yay! Good morning, everybody. Wow. All right. Well, today, one of the exciting things that we're going to find out, and I would love to know from any of you mommies joining us, ladies, is drop a one or drop a little crying emoji if you've ever said, you're sorry to your kids. I don't know how many crying emojis I should be dropping.
I'm going to get on there. Good morning, guys. I'm going to get on there and drop one. I'm going to drop it. Drop it like it's hot. I have definitely, what did you say? If we've said sorry?
If you've had to say sorry ever to your kids. Okay. Maybe I should just say this morning.
And you said drop a what?
Drop a little crying emoji, the little sad face emoji. All right.
There we go. There we go.
Alexander, I love the weeping one too. Thank you. That's the way we're starting. All right. Yay. Listen, the weekend we're gonna deal with all that because we just had the weekends always give us tons of time to have those moments with our kids where we're just like, why? How are those my genes?
Right. It's so good to be with you on Facebook Live again, Reagan.
I
love
know.
Seeing your face.
My glowing, slightly angelic look. I love how everybody else looks tanner whenever they're on the face, when we're doing this together. So you're welcome.
I'm excited about today.
Me too. And we are going to be, this is obviously I feel like for you and I, this is a topic near and dear, how our roles are as mothers and how that affects us, because obviously we enjoy it. I went 4 times and you went 5 just to be the winner. Winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
So today we are going to talk about, I want to say loving our kids on purpose, but we're actually talking about how we as mothers can be real with our children. What does that look like? And who are we to them? Are we literally an unpaid Uber driver? Are we an event organizer? Are we, this person? No. I mean, we are their mothers, but do we realize that we are actually, these are really our own little disciples? And I think that's really what we want to hone in on today. And, like to see your thoughts with that. Why am I even saying that? What does that mean? If these are the people that you have some of the greatest influence with, because we're talking about how we spend more time with them than anybody else, even our husbands, scary as that can be. So, I mean, you're coming on this as a mom of 5. So when I say what do you feel like is your main role right now as their mother?
Oh my gosh, my main role is their mother. You need to get out. That's my first role. Seriously, you need to go out. Well, first of all, in case you haven't joined us, we're She's Velvet Steel, because we have a lot of replay viewers and a lot of people that can't make it live on Mondays. And in case you just stumbled across this video, we're She's Velvet Steel. And I'm Jen, and I'm in Montana.
I'm Reagan.
Yes, and that's Reagan. And you're in?
I'm in sunny Southern California. We're all gearing up for the eclipse today. I don't know if you guys are in Montana with the fires, if that even makes a difference right now.
Yeah, it's not even on my radar right now, but maybe later. So parenting and my role, I think parenting is one of those things. I didn't necessarily set out to have 5 children, but I realized quickly that I have a major influence on them, good or bad. And there's definitely been moments where I could have redone it. I wanted the do-over button. Those buttons is it Staples or something where it's make it easy or something? I just want a big one that says do over, bam. because I feel like there's been so many times as a mother that I think I know where I want them to arrive, and I think I know how I want them to get there, and it's so not the same path that God would have me bring them there on. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm actually feeling near teary-eyed, so I am, like, this is already going like crazy. We missed Jamie on this coffee talk.
Right. Well,
Absolutely.
and it's one of our biggest, if anybody messes with our kids, right, it goes straight to our juggler. Like it is a God-given role, and we're made for it. And we screw it up all the time. So we're not getting on here this morning to tell you, oh, hello, everyone. We've got this all figured out, and let me unwrap my 5-step plan to perfect children. Yeah.
We're going to let, Martha Stewart can keep that on lock, and,
yeah,
those kids with the perfect hair bows, that, isn't the reality. But like you said, we all know, like, we all struggle. We all struggle with our kids. None of us have perfect children. If somebody does, like, feel free to like drop that little angel halo in our comment box. I feel like out of one of my 4, there are some that I feel are near more perfection of what I want for a child than others, but they're all like works in progress. And I think that is kind of like you're saying, like we really want to focus in, like, what does that mean for us? We've got 5 kids that are literally, you shape and form their world right now. I think we kind of forget that, because I feel like we have gotten in the tunnel where it's like we feel like they're shaping and forming our world. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm like flipping out because the cable's not coming on. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? And they're like, where's my show, mommy? Where's my show? We ran out of milk, and I'm like, just eat it dry. Like, that's so fun. Like, and your whole world feels like it's constantly revolving around them and what they're doing. But I mean,
that's such a good point. Like we talked about that earlier, the reactive versus proactive. So as moms, I feel like, and I see my husband kind of fall into this too sometimes, if we're not careful, you're just reacting all day. Like you're just responding and feeding and wiping, depending on what stage you're in, just buckling and putting to bed and waking up and running around. And you almost get into this reactive mode where you're just reacting and responding to everything, as opposed to what we want for you, what we want for ourselves, what we want for She's Velvet Steel. Our role here for you today is to look at it differently in how can we be a mother that's proactive. Like I want, like we were saying earlier, I want my kid to arrive here, not arrive, but, I want them to be functioning. This was kind of funny. When my firstborn was little, I used to be like, oh, I just pray over him, all these massive plans that I know God has planned for him. Like, ambassador of the United Nations, whatever, like these big things. And honestly, he's 15 now. I'm like, dear Lord, just let him be a functioning, independent citizen that stays out of deal, which is terrible. But it really, I think it gets exhausting over time, and we forget the influence we truly have on our children and how we can proactively still take them in that direction and guide them, where God has a plan for them. He's given all of them a plan and a purpose, and our job is to like guide them there. But do we do it by this and by this, and I think we've all learned, no.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we're going to keep doing the dropping the emojis because we want to hear from you too. And it gives us, like, when we're looking back, we're like, okay, so this was hitting a thing. So even right now, like if you've ever done this, and we know what we're talking about here with this like parenting thing, just give us like a little thumbs up, we're staying positive. So just go ahead and give us that, like, I like comments. And one of the things, like, as soon as you said that, like it must have been like a week ago, when I had like a moment of clarity.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just like washing dishes. And I kind of told the girls like, hey, if you guys get this stuff done, we're going to go do something fun. And, which usually for all of us is like, go get shaved ice. We'll go to California. It's always hot here. You always have shaved ice any time of the year. And I just hear my, 10-year-old just sitting there like reaming her sisters and like, I told you that this is not going to happen. You're not even doing it. So now you don't get any shaved ice. Now you don't get to do it. Like, and in my mind, I just thought like, I'm literally hearing myself. Like, I didn't think this didn't even sound like her. I was like, that literally feels like deja vu, because I had the same, conversations with them. I mean, pretty much almost every single day. Yeah. And that's where I just like, it was scary, because I thought, oh my gosh, like they're exemplifying, or she is, and she's such an amazing girl anyways. Like one of the worst qualities that I walk away from, and I'm always thinking like, no, I don't want you guys to do that. Like, I don't even want to be doing that. So I had a nice little sit down with all of them. And I just had this moment where I was just like, look, listen, I'm sorry. I've been stressed out. I've been like, pretty much my parenting style for off and on throughout the summer is just pretty much like, a bad like debt collector. Like, you better get this done or it's all gone. Everything, your TV, your toys, like I'm taking them all. Like, you don't even own it. It's mine. Right. Like I'm not kidding. That's how I've been talking to you. I'm seeing it transcend. And so I just realized like, we talked about like, we're so caught up in all of our to-do lists for our kids. Like it's amazing part as part of being a mother, but not realizing that how we do life, they're always watching us. Always. 4 times 2 is what is, I've got 8 eyes constantly watching me. And then, we always talk about it's not how we act. What's taught is what's caught, not necessarily what we're saying to them. Yeah. Right. So
it's so true. It's so true. And go ahead.
So, I mean, we're having this conversation. So I give that to them. And then, all of a sudden, I'm like, I just said to them, I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to try to be better. Like, let's just, if you see mommy acting like that, maybe you could pray with me, Yeah. I mean, they haven't yet, but I know that moment's probably coming. And I'm going to honestly, when they're like, mommy, if you feel kind of bad, maybe we should pray with you. I'm already knowing that in myself, I'm going to have to pray that I don't get so totally crazy at that moment. You're like, you want to pray for me? I want to pray for you. Like, just in your room. But,
in fact, I'm going to take you to Jesus. I brought you here. I can take you home.
And when you get to heaven. Oh,
right.
I'm sure you've got 5. So, what do you feel like with your vulnerability level, like even with them? Like, how open are you? How like open to admitting mistakes?
Okay, so I made so many mistakes, and I feel like I love the grace of God. Like, give a this, whatever this emoji is, drop one of those if you are so in love with the grace of God, because I need it every single day as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as everything. I love God's grace. I've just made so many mistakes with my kids, and no excuses, but I also know that there's a perfect storm that rises up in me, and it's not enough sleep, not eating the right foods, not getting exercise. If I'm not taking care of myself, it's really difficult for me to have that overflowing patience for all things children. But I think what happens for me is, right now, I'm in a camper. I'm living in a van down by the river. There's my daughter and there's my son. Those are my babies. We're literally living in a 22-foot camper right now at the KOA. And we were evacuated from a fire. So this is, when I looked at our coffee talk subject, I'm like, first of all, I don't even know where I'm going to do the coffee talk from. But second of all, is like, I'm supposed to get on coffee talk and talk about parenting after I've been in this trailer with 5 children and all of our belongings, our sentimental items and our clothes. And we have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. So 2 teenage boys along with their socks. Enough said.
Football. I'm giving you a heart emoji just because I feel for you right now. So please, if anybody feels for.
Hopefully it doesn't come across as complaining. I'm just casting a picture for you of reality. But it just, it's one of those, like, I'm supposed to come on Coffee Talk and talk about parenting when a couple nights ago, it just hit the camper roof. It was just like, oh my gosh, move your stuff, get your stuff out of my way. And like, yes, we'll go to the pool. Yes, we'll go get something to eat. Yes, just, you can't all five talk to me at once. And I get this thing where I literally am overstimulated by touch. Like they start touching me and pulling on me and things like that. Or talking, like noise. Does anybody else get overstimulated? Like and I'm a super touchy person, but there comes a time usually at night at bedtime, which is terrible because bedtime is that time that's so precious, and you tuck them in and you read Bible stories and you pray over them and you set the tone for the evening. And usually I'm like, get to bed. So it's just, yeah. So that's kind of the picture of me living in a van down by the river right now. We get to go back home. Side note, there's a massive fire in our area that grew. July 15th is when the lightning struck, and it's grown to 30,000 acres. So anyway, we get to go home. But I was thinking about just a couple nights ago where one of my sons I could just tell he was overstimulated. He was fighting with his brothers. He was, just picking fights, and that energy, they just give off that energy. And I picture like Tasmanian devil, like running around, and instead of me, which I do when I'm tired and I'm not being proactive, right? So we can be responsive and react, or be proactive. When I'm not getting enough sleep and I'm not just staying in the word and I'm not like really being a mature woman, I allow myself, picture this, I allow myself to get sucked into that hurricane, and I match energy for energy, and I just match it. And immediately I'm the same intensity, and it's just icky. And so the other night I realized, okay, there's a lot going on in our family right now. There's a lot, however you try to frame it, it's just, you've been displaced, and we make it fun. We've been playing at the pool. We just make it fun. Right. But at the same time, giving them an opportunity to talk about it. And how do you give someone an opportunity to really open up to you? You're vulnerable with them, with your own fears and your own scares or your feelings. And so I took him aside and just said, hey, because I really want to take him aside and beat him. So don't report me to CPS. I didn't. I took him aside and just said, hey, obviously you're feeling this, I'm a little stressed too. Like, that's a small camper for all of us, huh? Did you realize we have so many clothes, and that's a lot of stuff? And what do you think is going to happen with the fire? And what do you think is going to happen with our home? And, how are you feeling? Instead of me saying, we're fine, we're going to get through it, now just leave me alone and we'll be good, just me being vulnerable. And that's the key that we are learning, and we want you guys to know, is your influence. You have such influence on the people around you. We talked about our husbands last week, and now we're talking about our children. Your vulnerability makes that connection with them and can influence them, and being able to say, look, I get it, and not say, oh no, that's wrong. I know you're feeling that way, but it'll never come to our house. We actually had a couple people that say, oh, I'm 100% sure the fire will never get to your house. Well, that's fine, but you're not living in this trailer and displaced, So being able to connect with someone and allow them to talk about their fears, allow them to just get it out and be vulnerable with them about your own fears, that influence, it just drops their guard. And when their guard is dropped, you can love on them and influence them. And I think that really is with everyone, right?
Absolutely. I just got the word, like as soon as you were talking, like validate, like
yes,
even as adults, we want to be validated. If we're talking to a friend and maybe it's like irrational that we're just like going psycho on something, but you know what? Part of our good friends are like, hey, I can totally see why you think that. And with our kids, and then it opens us up to now, even if they're going to talk us off the ledge, we've already said, like, we're connecting with you. And I think with like, even what you're saying with your kids, it's like, okay, so often we're so frazzled ourselves. And we, instead of us like setting the tone and realizing like God's already given us this authority, this influence, whether you want it or not.
Right. You have it.
Mom, you've got it. Unfortunately, they're watching you all the time, literally. Like I feel that the bathroom is like, no, that's them watching me. But it's you know, they want to feel as validated
Right.
as we would with somebody else. Like, we kind of can't negate who they are, what they are.
Right.
And, you know, I think, like you said, the first part we talked about, like being proactive or reactive. And I saw some in the comments there talked about, like, generally we're reactive. I think that's the norm. Like, let's be honest. But I just want to encourage you ladies, like, that have come in, but this is part of the proactive, is just sitting here and saying, like, wow, we started off our week realizing that we are an influence. When we walk out of our office, and I tell my kids they can't watch any more TV because I've given it to them for an hour to be good. Like, let's do something else. Like, being like, I get it, you know? I'd want to do this too. I get it. But just validating their feelings and understanding. I read an amazing book that called Loving Your Kids on Purpose. And when I told people that, I actually was a little embarrassed, because, like, feeling like you can't love your kids without reading a book that tells you to love your kids. And I was like,
right.
I feel like with everything and with our influence, we have to do it on purpose. It has to be on purpose. This isn't going to be, you're not going to turn into an amazing mom or an amazing influencer with your kids. And the earlier you are, you're already in the high school age. Right. I'm still, like, they still want to hear from me, but I know if I don't listen to them now, like, they're going to be brushing me off in another 3 years when they hit high school. And I'll be like, no, wait, now I want the time to, like, you know, talk to you. So we're just trying to cut it off at the pass. So you guys,
high school. High school is it's a whole nother ball game. And I think even more important for us to be vulnerable. And because I see with my sons of just the drive for, you know, that temptation that's there, and that I want to be liked, and I want to belong, and I want to be loved, like all of us do, right? But I swear in high school, it's like it peaks. It just, like, peaks at this point of, like, I so badly want to be validated and liked and loved, and then you've got these other things that are validating them that really tempt them. So I know there was one night I sat down with my 15-year-old and I said, you know, I know that your teachers are making a big deal about you water bottle flipping. If anybody knows what the water bottle flipping is, drop a water drop or something in the comments. But I said, you know, I know they're making a big deal out of that, but, you know, as long as your grades are good and you're being respectful, and I know your heart's in the right spot, like, your spirit is what I care about. And because I was not flipping water bottles, I was not doing that. I wish I was. I was doing much worse things. And I gave him an insight into what I was doing, and gave him that, like, I struggled too. I hated my parents when I was 15. I wanted them to drop me off 2 blocks from the school. And, you know, being able to be vulnerable with them and say, I get it. Like, I so get it. But I also want more for you too. And, you know, being able to influence them. I don't know, Reagan, though, sometimes I need help in this area. I try to turn everything into a lesson.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't? Well, it's that great leadership calling that you have on you. But I think, you know, like, even with your, like what you said, your life is your lesson. And I know, like, without a shadow of a doubt, if you hadn't laid the groundwork to be vulnerable at that moment, like, at the younger years, like this age.
I love this. Our parenting talk with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your group's rocking it. It all comes back. So, I mean, we could go on and on with this, but we really, like, again, like, this is why it's so important that we're doing life together. Nobody's perfect. And sometimes we need the reminder, like we have with our spouses, like, how much our words, our actions, our prayer for them affect them. And now we're touching on with our kids, like we've talked to today, and not just touch on the area of, like, how do we be a more fun mom? Like, how do we make better dinners? Those are amazing, but that's not what's going to change their life. That's not what's going to build up their spirit and their soul and pour into them. So when they get to the age that they might be 15, 16, and their friends aren't connecting with their parents, we're going to have that connection because we poured into them from an earlier age, where we said, you know what, you're real with me, I'm real with you. Right now, I'm struggling. Right now, we're in a camper down by the river, and it's not a Saturday Night Live skit. So if you see your dad and I feeling a little less tense, a little less like, just feeling stressed, and, I don't want to take you with me to the KOA bathroom every second that I go, like, just give mommy the space. I still love you. So
mommy's been in the KOA bathroom for like an hour now. What is
yeah. It's my new prayer closet. So awesome. And we've got another resource coming up,
yes.
right? You want to tell our ladies about that?
Absolutely. So, we've been talking about influence and really wanting you to realize you have influence. You have influence everywhere you go. And we want to be able to help you really take advantage of that and connect with people, because that's what life's about, is making that connection and being on this journey together. So, but we also understand that us 10 years ago, there was some serious things that were in the way of us moving forward. And they were things that we thought they were something else, and we realized over time they were not. So we have a free program coming up. It's a 6-day free challenge, and free. And it basically is 6 steps to eliminating what's holding you back. So these are the 6 things that Jamie and I realized what we thought were our problems were not our problems. Mm-hmm. And God was so good to really address those or bring them to light for us so that we could be free of those, so that we could totally pursue our purpose with passion. But we couldn't without eliminating these things first. So there's 6 things that are super vital that we've got to get rid of first before we can take that next step of moving towards our purpose.
I want to know what they are, but you got to come,
sign
in to get it. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, Reagan, it was so good to be with you today. Thanks everybody for joining us too.
Yeah.
And share the video. Like I said, what I love about these lives is the continual conversation throughout the week. So we get more playback viewers, and I love it. So keep talking to each other, because we are in this together. And look, you guys, none of us have this figured out, right?
Absolutely. We will be encouraging, and I just appreciate encouraging comments, likes for other people's things. So let's keep the conversation going. Share with your friends, with your family. There's another mom that's sitting at home not realizing just by like that diaper she's changing, she's actually influencing that person. Send this to her. All right. Make our daily tasks seem a little bit more important and, God-given, I guess. Absolutely. All right. Have a great week, ladies.
All right. Thanks, Reagan. Bye.
Bye.